But there's over 8 million people under correctional supervision in the United States. That's 1 out of every 28 adults. That's a lot of people.
Really?
That's a lot of people.
Well, yeah.
That's a lot of people. The cost is unbelievable. In 1982, we spent $36 billion on the justice system, or on the correctional system. By 2006, that was up to $214 billion. And we're now 5 years later, and I don't have a more current figure, but I guarantee you it's just getting huge. More prisons being built all the time. But here's what I want you to think about. 95% of the people that are presently in prison are going to be getting out. And they're coming to a neighborhood near you.
Wow.
Now, would you like them to come out as hardened criminals? Or would you like them to come out as rehabilitated, Bible-believing Christians?
Yes. Yes.
Pretty easy choice. But something to think about. Because these people are getting out of prison. And when they get out of prison, they're going to need people to support them in churches. They're going to need people to support them with jobs. And believe me, it's hard for prisoners to get jobs. It's hard. It's hard. I'm fortunately in a business where I can assist, but obviously I can't assist 8 million of them. I can do a couple. You know, I can help, and I have employed, in fact, really, probably in the last 4 or 5 years, most of my employees have been ex-prisoners. So, you know, just some things to think about. Most prisoners are rearrested within 3 years. Over half of them go back to jail after 3 years. Did you know the United States has the highest incarceration rate per capita in the whole world? Anywhere. We beat everything. The USA is number 1. Per 100,000 citizens, 738 are in jail. There's a chart in here you could look. The next closest one is the Russian Federation with 611. Among the major nations, what we'll classify as major nations, the closest one is 209, which is Israel. We're over three times, what any other major nation has of the population in jail. Home of the brave, land of the jailed.
I was going to say, how come we're so much at the top? Isn't there something we can do to help?
It's an industry.
I guess. My gracious.
That's part of it. It's an industry, and we have politicians who, you know, how is there any politician going to be against putting people in jail? Sadly not, and it's more complicated than that. But that's something that, you know, politicians and political will is definitely part of the situation. One quote here: the method of building more prisons, spending more money on detaining instead of rehabilitating, is not only costing us millions of dollars and making our streets more dangerous, but it's failing to turn the tide of rearrest. It's not stopping people, because all we're doing is locking them up and warehousing them. On the other hand, faith-based prison programs continue to turn out positive results regarding inmate rehabilitation. Faith-based programs do work to have considerably lower recidivism rate than the secular programs do. And that shouldn't be surprising to any of us, that when God's involved, the results are a whole lot better.
Exactly.
It's a fact. It's just the way it works. So I'm just going to ask you just to take this and consider our prison system, what God may want you to do, whether it might be to partner with us or write your congressman or, you know, talk to the people in your church. I don't know what God's going to direct you to do. But I was talking to David this afternoon, and God has shown me that 2012 is a year of commitment. If you want to commit to Heart of America Prison Ministry, that's great. If you have somewhere else you want to be committed, that's wonderful too. But here's the deal. Commit yourself to the Lord and do what He tells you to do. The Lord is calling people to get off the fence and get off the couch. It's time. Time is short. We would be honored and privileged to partner with you in prison ministry, but if God calls you to something else, we want to support you in that. We want you where God strategically positions you, because that's where you need to be this year. Because don't do something that's good, do something that's God. There's a lot of good things, but if that's not what God's calling you to, it's not a God thing, it's only a good thing. And there's only one O between good and God. But it's a world of distance apart. Go for the God thing. The God things are always good. The good things are not always God things.